Hello and welcome to the 143rd episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast.
So damn paranormal.
My name is not Jason Knight, obviously, who is the main host of the show. Instead, with you today is Oscar Spector. That's right, I am solo casting the opening for the show. Notice you heard opening. We do have a show still. We have something coming out here. So the intro will be one of the worst in history because I'm at the helm. Now, with that in mind, here's the haps. Jason Knight, our very own Jason Knight, caught himself in the middle of traveling, in the midst of working a lot that he as he usually does, and his usual hectic life. He's traveling right now, and he did not have the chance, the opportunities to research a show properly, and obviously for us to, get together on the mics here or block out some time to record one as well. So that's why I'm doing the opening this time around. Now he's good for like releasing shows and doing that on the road, but he can't research on the road, guys. That's really impossible. You need some real time for yourself to do it right. So yeah, that's what's happening. And I did not have a show ready to go either. I'm still researching, right in the middle of reading a lot of things right now for the next two-parter of mine, which I think is the next show is coming up. So expect some crazy shit in the future. Anyway, but I'm working on that now. But I have not written one word yet, so nothing was ready. So instead, what we decided was, and as you can tell by the title, is that we decided to kind of give a tease or kind of upsell, so to speak, kind of tell everyone here what you're all missing by not joining our Patreon or not being a Patreon Patreon member at the proper levels in order to listen to our bonus episode material. So we picked one of the many of 2+ years worth of bonuses to release on the main feed show, and we decided to go with the Cecil Hotel. And the Cecil Hotel is a wonderful thing. It's in LA, I believe LA, California at least, but I believe it's LA. And sorry, it's been a while since I heard it. Anyway, and it's in LA, and it kind of loosely connects to our Richard Ramirez episode that we did, the Night Stalker. We covered him in episode 122. If you're curious about it, if you haven't heard about it, or maybe you have and it's been a while and you're like, oh, what's the connection? We do mention the Cecil Hotel, I do believe, in that episode. But if not, this does connect to him in some looser way. But we figured that for that month where we did that Richard Ramirez episode, we decided it was a good idea. Well, Jay decided, he thought of all this. This is his, this was like his idea. You know what I mean? So, we decided to do a bonus episode on the Cecil Hotel and what makes it crazy, what modern news items have come from it, and so on. So it's a great show, and I left it unedited. It's the main body of it anyway. Obviously, the opening is different for obvious reasons, but so the show is as is, and so there's that, and there's one thing I want to mention here, two things actually. So I'll just mention the little one first. The outtakes are going to be a little fun, a little off, because a few shows ago, I don't remember which one, guys. A few shows ago, we recorded. Jay and I sat down and recorded like 2 hours of nonsense. Obviously, it's not going to be 2 hours long, but 2 hours worth of nonsense. And, normally I would take part of that, when we start talking in the beginning, before get warmed up and all that, I use that for outtakes because they're fun and whatever. And I like putting outtakes. I just like outtakes, really. So, but I obviously couldn't use all of it. I didn't listen to the entire 2 hours because we had other outtakes from in between cuts and segments. So I'm like, fuck. So I have it saved here and decided to put it on for this show. At least the good stuff. So expect some still fresh material as far as the outtakes go, because the outtakes for the Cecil Hotel were like 1 minute long. Not this time, boy. Anyway, so expect that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that one thing that you will be missing, if you're not a Patreon member at the dollar amount that gives you the bonus episodes, you will be missing something we call Oscars Off the Rails Review, which is something we used to do in the early days, in the early 2 years of the show. We used to do this thing where, in the main feed, obviously, this is before Patreon, I guess. I used to try to find something like a book, a movie, a TV show, a video game, anything like that. I mean, it could be anything, I guess, but those are the main four. Music album, I guess, but I never picked one of those. Anyway, and I try to find something obviously relating to the show, and better yet, try to relate something to the topic. You know, it won't always work, obviously, but I did a good job there. I had a good run in there for a while where I connected everything very nicely with something that, few people have heard or not enough people have heard. And that's the point. Nothing too popular here. It's just going to be like recommendations if you're interested in the subject matter at hand. So because I did the Cecil Hotel and that bonus episode for 122, I suggested a trilogy of movies currently available at Shudder.com. Shudder with 2 D's, not 2 T's. And it's called the Hell House trilogy. And it's a found footage trilogy based in, I forgot the state, but it is American. And it's about an abandoned hotel, that was in this sleepy town and shit. And these kids modified it to make a haunted house. And the whole thing is that the whole thing falls apart, supernaturally speaking. It is very supernatural. It's not just ghosts. It's just more than that. It's immediately more than that. It's also more fun. It isn't too serious. It is serious, but it isn't too serious either. Like it's a fun time. Horror movies. And the great thing about it is that it is found footage, but it's not too overbearing on it. It's not too much up his own ass about it. So I recommend it for that. It's a good story. It's a haunted house story. Obviously, that's just the first movie, and it really goes on. And all three were made basically back to back to back. And they were made by the same people. So there's like the same follow through. There's no like weird discombobulation in the story between the movies. It really follows very nicely throughout. So I do highly recommend it. Again, that's the Hell House trilogy. That was what I recommended back then in the old intro for this show. And that's what I'm doing again this time. Now, without further ado, the following is me butchering, and I do mean butchering, where and how y'all can find us. Online, of course. So first off, you can follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Chicago Ghosts. That's plural, Chicago Ghosts, on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also follow our YouTube page over at Supernatural Occurrence Studies. Check that out for sure, because we have posted things that are not in any feed, in the past. Not many, mind you, but we have, because we've done some stuff before. Some videos are, of us sometimes, depending on the video itself. So check that out for sure, our YouTube channel. And not to mention, you can always go to our website at chicagoghostpodcast.com, where you can find your way to all of these other sites. Not to mention, finding the pictures we have, a great looking archive. I mean, Jay put a lot of effort into making this website. I've seen it myself personally recently for this show. Anyway, but check that out, chicagoghostpodcast.com. Not to mention, you can always check us out on Patreon, which is why we're here, why we're doing this particular type of episode this week. And that's the best way for us to get more people onto the show and grow this community. And in the hopes of bringing you guys more content and better on-time content too. It's also that. So, yeah, check us out at all those places. There's also a phone number. I heard there was a phone number. Now, is it real? I do not know, but here I go. So Jay sent me this phone number. Now, careful, don't type this in. It's 872-529-0767. Now, if you're curious for the real version of this number, it's 8,725,290,767. That is our phone number. And you can use that to text us, give us a voicemail. I mean, we won't pick up, but you can do those things. You can send us something and tell us what you think of my horrible intro and of the episode itself. Let us know what you think of this. And have you been to the Cecil Hotel? Have you known someone who's been there? whatever. So check us out there. And now, without further ado, we're going to roll right into the episode, unedited as it was back then, and hope you enjoy.
Patrons, welcome back to the show. Well, the lights are turned down low, the ceremonial candle is lit, and the drinks are flowing. What do you say we start this show? So, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that many of our patrons are also fans of the FX television show American Horror Story. I'm a huge fan of the show. I've enjoyed some seasons more than others, of course, but overall, they're all pretty great. I especially like Season 5, American Horror Story Hotel, and particularly the episode called Devil's Night, the fourth episode in Season 5. This is the episode where pretty much every heavy hitter serial killer shows up in ghostly form to take part in a very unusual dinner feast. There's John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Eileen Wuornos, Richard Ramirez, and even the Zodiac. There's even a strong hint of the notorious Chicago serial killer H.H. Holmes in Evan Peters' character, James Patrick March. It's a really cool episode. Listeners, check it out if you haven't seen it. American Horror Story Season 5 is also the season that starred Stefani Joan Angelina Germanotta, better known as the Lady of the Gagas. Is that how you say it? The Gaga?
No, I think so. Yeah, you're right.
Lady Gaga? Okay.
Lady of Gaga. Yeah, you're right.
Lady of Gaga. I'm not sure. Now, the Gaga played a bloodthirsty character called the Countess, who may or may not have been a vampire, or who may or may not have been the Bloody Baroness Elizabeth Bathory. I was never really clear on that. But what's more important to our episode here is that the Gaga's character is also the owner of the supernatural hotel where Season 5 takes place, the Hotel Cortez. And here's where the make-believe of American Horror Story ends and the reality begins. Because you see, the fictional Hotel Cortez, with all of its ghosts and gore, was based on an actual hotel with just as much murder, mayhem, and ghosts as its fictional counterpart. That real-life hotel is called Hotel Cecil, located at 640 South Main Street in Los Angeles, California. Now, the 13-story Beaux-Arts style Hotel Cecil was constructed in 1924 and 1925 by a rich hotelier named William Banks Hanner, and it opened to the public in 1927. The 600-room Hotel Cecil was to be a premier destination for the business class due to its close proximity to Spring Street, then a major financial hub nicknamed the Wall Street of the West, and for tourists traveling to LA to take in glamorous Broadway shows. Now, there's a couple things I want to point out here. First is the number of rooms. Depending on which article you read, the hotel's quantity of rooms tends to change. I've seen everything from 700 guest rooms, which was actually painted as a large advertisement on the side of Hotel Cecil, which read, quote, Hotel Cecil, low daily and weekly rates, 700 rooms, end quote. And I've also read as low as 400 guest rooms. The quantity 600 is listed on the Pacific Coast Architecture Database, or the PCAD database, which you think would be accurate information. So let's just split the difference between PCAD and the hotel's own advertisement and go with 650 rooms, give or take. The other thing I want to point out is the hotel's architectural style, Beaux-Arts. That's B-E-A-U-X, arts. This is a style that combines French neoclassicism, Gothic, and Renaissance elements into its construction. And it's a style that's quite opulent to behold. And Hotel Cecil was no different. No expense was spared when constructing the hotel's grand lobby. From its ornate marble floors, stained glass skylights, alabaster statuary, ornate chandeliers, and luxurious grand staircase, typical Beaux-Arts elements, it's hard to imagine that this once beautiful hotel is now called one of the most haunted hotels in the world. But I'm getting ahead of myself. When Hotel Cecil opened in 1927, it saw a couple of good years of operation, bringing in just the type of clientele William Hanna was after. Unfortunately, Hanna's, or more like Hotel Cecil's, success was short-lived, as both the stock market crash of 1929 and the ensuing Great Depression, which lasted from 1929 to 39, spelled doom for the hotel. You see, Hotel Cecil sits on the westernmost border of a section of downtown Los Angeles called Central City East, more commonly known as LA's notorious Skid Row. Other streets making up Skid Row are 3rd Street to the north, 7th Street to the south, Alameda Street to the east, and of course Main Street to the west. And that's where Hotel Cecil sits, right at 640 South Main. Now, Skid Row is home to America's most condensed homeless population, dating all the way back to the 1930s. Now, here's a little fun fact. The term Skid Row is a term taken from the logging industry, a term called Skid Road, whereby loggers would transport their logs to a nearby river for shipping, and they would slide the huge logs down a road made from greased skids. When the logs reached the riverbank, the loggers that escorted their haul along the skid road would have to sit and wait, sometimes for days on end, for boats to show up and collect the logs. With little to do but wait, and with hardly any money in their pockets, the little camps that were created by waiting loggers became known as Skid Row. And the term began to be used to describe any place where people with little money and nothing to do congregated. Soon it became an American term for a depressed street in a large city. And that's where the term Skid Row comes from. The more you know.
I stole it. I
love it. I try to sneak one the more you know in every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the creation of LA's Skid Row can likely be blamed on the railroad system, as Los Angeles became the end of the line for the Transcontinental Railroad in 1876. Thousands of people, mainly displaced veterans of the Civil War and destitute individuals known as hobos, began to illegally ride the rails, looking for a better life. And with California's beautiful weather and bountiful orchards, many, if not most, of the train jumpers wound up in LA. Here, they tended to survive by living in cheap motels, working meager labor jobs, mainly agricultural jobs like orange groves and vineyards, and living on handouts from generous citizens and religious and charitable organizations. But hey, at least there were palm trees and sunshine, right? Bars and brothels sprung up to cater to the influx of low-wage or no-wage people, as did cheap hotels. And by the turn of the century, the area that would become Skid Row became one of the most toughest hangouts in the West. Some of the Skid Row dwellers became memorialized through yellow journalism. Journalists wrote about a man named One-Armed Jack Ryan, an alcoholic bully who was known to terrorize his fellow Skid Row residents, and Parson Williams, the hobo preacher, who occasionally spent time on the chain gang, and a man known only as Kelly, who was arrested for vagrancy after it was noticed that he was always drunk, even though he never had a job or any money. Kelly sounds like a great time, if you ask me. One newspaper article claimed that if an ordinary citizen walked through the throngs of the down and out on Skid Row, their watch would creep up its owner's arm for protection. I love the imagery in that description.
Yeah.
And the LA Times called people who lived on Skid Row the scum of the earth, dirt crows, and two-legged hogs. You couldn't get away with publishing things like that nowadays. And by 1927, the Hotel Cecil opened up on the border of Skid Row. Maybe Hanna thought that since this hotel was on the border of Skid Row, it would be safe. Maybe the property was cheaper that way. Either way, like I said, Hanna enjoyed a few years of success with Hotel Cecil, but he couldn't have predicted the stock market crash and the Great Depression, which brought another influx of the down and out and the destitute to his section of LA. The transient nature of the 60s brought even more homeless. The 1970s brought displaced Vietnam vets, a lot of which were mentally unstable and needed help they would never find, along with heavy drug users, to the area. Also in the 70s, legislation was passed to deinstitutionalize hospitals, which inadvertently allowed the now privatized hospitals to toss out patients they didn't want to deal with: the mentally ill, the insane, the depressed, shell-shocked veterans, those with substance abuse problems, drug addicts, alcoholics, you name it. And yet again, the Skid Row population exploded, only this time with people who should have been in hospitals and on medication, probably even in prison in some circumstances. The 1980s brought another devastating blow to the area: crack cocaine. And along with it, an explosion of violence, prostitution, murder, and mayhem. And if you remember from our Richard Ramirez episode, this is exactly the time period during which Ramirez, the Night Stalker, frequented Skid Row. Now, more on Ramirez a little later in the episode. The housing crisis of the early 2000s certainly didn't help Skid Row. And today, Skid Row is no better than it was in the early 1900s. A massive homeless population, rampant drug use, alcoholism, crime, prostitution, and tents literally lining the streets. It's just unbelievable that in these modern times, where I could order a roll of toilet paper from any room in my house and have it delivered in a day via an Alexa device, that places like Skid Row in America still exist. I'm not going to get political. So my very long-winded point here is that, unsurprisingly, hotels in the area, like Hotel Cecil, changed. They had to. And they went from catering to tourists in the business class to offering low-income housing to the people of Skid Row. And over time, the Cecil became known as a meeting place for junkies, runaways, and criminals. And it earned a nasty reputation for violence and death. In other words, Hotel Cecil was a place where the shimmering lights of Hollywood did not reach, and it began to epitomize the dark, seedy underbelly of LA. No glitz, no glamour, and definitely no Hollywood stars or starlets. As one LA historian put it, quote, "You know the old saying, if walls could talk? Well, Hotel Cecil's walls wouldn't talk. They would scream," end quote.
Nice.
So with that, let's take a look at the deaths and incredibly strange events associated with Hotel Cecil to better understand why it's called the most haunted hotel in the world. Now, the first known death at Hotel Cecil happened on November 19th, 1931. A 46-year-old man named W.K. Norton was found dead in his room at Hotel Cecil after ingesting poison capsules. So this was a suicide. A lot of suicides at this hotel. A number of capsules were found in Norton's vest pocket, along with some checks written out to a Mrs. M.C. Norton, presumably his wife. Norton checked into Hotel Cecil under the name James Willies from Chicago, matter of fact. So that was the first known death, the suicide. In September 1932, the body of 25-year-old Benjamin Dodich was discovered inside his Hotel Cecil room by Carrie Brown, a hotel maid. Mr. Dodich had shot himself in the right temple for reasons unknown, as no suicide note was found at the scene. In July 1934, a 53-year-old former Army Medical Corps sergeant named Louis D. Borden was found to have slashed his own throat in his room at Hotel Cecil. The razor was found next to his body. Borden left a number of letters behind, one of which indicated that he killed himself because his health was deteriorating. In another letter, Borden wrote that, quote, "Mrs. Edna Hasner of P.O. Box 664, Edmonds, Washington, be the sole beneficiary of what little I have to leave," end quote. That's kind of sad, man.
Yeah.
In March of 1937, 25-year-old Grace E. Magro either fell from or tried to commit suicide by jumping out of a 9th floor window at the Cecil. On the way down, Miss Magro's body ripped through some telephone wires, and the wires were found entangled with her crushed body on the concrete below. Miss Magro died a short while later at the now demolished Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Interestingly, Mrs. Magro's companion, a 26-year-old sailor named M.W. Madison, was supposedly asleep in his bed at the time, and he claimed to have no information as to why Miss Magro did what she did. So, was this unfortunate event an accident, suicide, or murder? In January 1938, a 35-year-old U.S. Marine Corps fireman named Roy Thompson jumped from the top floor of the Cecil Hotel and was found dead on a skylight of a neighboring building. And I couldn't find any other information about this guy. No reasons, suicide note, nothing.
Right.
In May 1939, a 39-year-old Navy officer named Irwin C. Neblett, who worked on the USS Wright, was found dead in his Hotel Cecil room after having ingested strychnine. He was found unconscious by a maid who called police, but Mr. Neblett died in his room shortly after help arrived. Now, this one's fucked up. In September of 1944, 19-year-old Jean Purcell and her boyfriend, a 38-year-old shoe salesman named Ben Levine, were sharing a room at the Hotel Cecil. During the middle of the night, Jean Purcell, who apparently didn't know she was pregnant, suddenly went into labor. Not wanting to wake her sleeping boyfriend, Jean ran to the bathroom and gave birth. It was a baby boy. Now, Jean claimed she thought the baby was stillborn, dead, so she did what any grieving mother would do. She went to the bathroom window and chucked the baby out the window and onto the roof of an adjacent building. The problem is, the baby was not stillborn, as upon autopsy, air was found in its tiny lungs, proving that the baby had been breathing before being thrown out the window. Miss Purcell was charged with murder, and ultimately, Mom was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Love the justice system.
Oh, wow.
Nasty, right?
I mean, those kind of stories actually come up more often than you think, right? The whole thing about like, oh, these people were in a nightclub and the girl gave birth and put the baby in the dumpster, shit like that.
Yeah.
Or in high school, right? Or whatever.
I could count probably a lot of stories I heard growing up in Chicago of like high schoolers, just giving birth at school and throwing the kid away.
You think any of them are just like urban legendy, or they're actually all real?
I mean, these were news stories that I saw. I remember seeing.
I mean, I remember seeing some of those too, but a lot of them were just people telling me also. So
I think I remember one happening at Steinmetz over by you.
Oh, no, I did. Yeah, we're fucked up over there.
Yeah. Sad, man. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a persistent story that claims Elizabeth Short was last seen at Hotel Cecil's bar days before her body was found on January 15th, 1947. Miss Short's body was discovered that January morning in a grassy, vacant lot in Lemire Park, just about 15 minutes drive from Hotel Cecil. Her body was placed in a predominant location, just off a sidewalk, and it was a mother walking her young child that discovered the body. Short's body was naked, and she was cut clean in half at the waist. Her arms were posed, raised above her shoulders, and her legs were spread wide, almost seductively. There were cuts and abrasions all over both halves of her body, and there were rope marks on her neck, wrists, and ankles. And maybe worse of all, Short's mouth had been sliced to extend her smile ear to ear in what's known as the Cheshire Grin or the Glasgow Smile. Just an absolute horrific crime scene with zero blood, none on the body and none in the grass below the body. And to this day, no one is brought to justice for this heinous murder. The question is, did Miss Short, notoriously known as the Black Dahlia, cross paths with her murderer at the Hotel Cecil? There's a lot of people that think this is a very real possibility. Now, I've left some Black Dahlia crime scene photos in the show notes if you're interested in this case, but I got to warn you, the photos are extremely graphic. Here's another suicide. A 35-year-old man named Robert Smith jumped to his death from his 7th floor room at Hotel Cecil from that window in November 1947. And this is another one. I couldn't find any other newspaper articles on Mr. Smith's suicide. Just one. And that's all it said. We got another jumper. On October 22nd, 1954, a 55-year-old woman named Helen Gurney jumped to her death from a window in her room on Hotel Cecil's 7th floor. And her body landed on top of Hotel Cecil's entry marquee. Listeners, check the show notes to see pictures of Hotel Cecil and the marquee. 50-year-old Julia Frances Moore is yet another Hotel Cecil guest that jumped to her death from her 8th floor window on February 11th, 1962. Her body landed in a 2nd floor interior light well. She didn't leave a suicide note. The only items found in her room were a bus ticket originating in St. Louis, so we know she was from St. Louis, 59 cents in change, and a Springfield, Illinois bank book showing a balance of $1,800.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very strange.
Very strange.
Now, in this next story, just imagine the luck, or maybe unluck. On November 12th, 1962, 27-year-old Pauline Otten jumped from her 9th floor window at Hotel Cecil after having an argument with her estranged husband named Dewey. And Dewey claimed he left the room prior to Miss Otten jumping. Fucking Dewey.
I mean, his brothers Huey and Louie are clearly better people.
Absolutely. But, I don't like this guy. As if this isn't bad enough, Otten landed on and killed a 65-year-old pedestrian named George Giannini, who just so happened to be walking past Hotel Cecil when Otten jumped. Talk about horrible luck. Now, at first, police thought the two died in a suicide pact, having jumped from the 9th floor window together. That's how badly poor Mr. Giannini was mangled.
No way.
Yes. Now, later, police untangled exactly what happened. That Otten was the unintended killer and Giannini was an innocent victim. You see, Giannini still had his hands in his pockets when he was found, and his shoes were still on. Police deducted that if, in fact, Giannini had jumped, his hands would have flailed, would not have still been in his pockets, and his shoes would have been thrown off upon impact. What a strange world we live in.
Yeah.
Right.
The way you said that, how the police untangled it, that's dark.
You caught it.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of dark.
I was going to insert something there, like no pun intended, but I wasn't sure if that was a pun. No, it wasn't.
It's
sure.
something.
But you caught it. It's something.
I got it. Yeah.
It's something. On June 4th, 1964, a Hotel Cecil worker discovered the beaten, raped, and viciously stabbed body of a woman known as Pigeon Goldie Osgood inside her room at Hotel Cecil, which had been ransacked. Pigeon Goldie was a well-known woman in the area around Hotel Cecil for protecting and feeding the pigeons in nearby Pershing Square, and she was a beloved figure. When her body was found, a paper sack of birdseed laid next to her body, as was the Dodgers hat she always wore. And Pigeon Goldie's killer was never caught. Yeah. On December 20th, 1975, a still unidentified woman jumped to her death from the 12th floor window. She had been staying at the hotel for 4 days and had registered under the pseudonym Allison Lowell. Now, let's flash forward to our first Richard Ramirez tie-in. In 1985, basically all throughout his horrific killing spree, Richard Ramirez lived at the Hotel Cecil in room 1402, for which it said he only paid $14 a night. If you listen to our Night Stalker episode, one thing we pointed out that was truly chilling about Richard Ramirez was his randomness in killing. The only constant, though, was that each night, after brutally raping and murdering his victims, the Night Stalker would return to his room at Hotel Cecil. There's even stories about how Ramirez would ditch his bloody clothes in a dumpster behind Hotel Cecil, and then he'd saunter into the hotel's lobby on his way up to 1402, either just in his underwear or just buck-ass naked. And you'd think this would raise some red flags, right? Nah.
But not by then. I mean, Hotel Cecil has seen worse by then.
That's right.
That's the whole point.
This is the Hotel Cecil in mid-'80s. Seeing a naked man walk through the lobby was par for the course. It was just an average night at the Cecil. Here he is, the most notorious killer in L.A. at the time, possibly ever, in plain view, and no one even batted an eye. Considering the types of people holed up in the hotel alongside Ramirez, the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the pimps, the prostitutes, the lowlifes, Ramirez fit right in. Just another social reject looking for a cheap place to be anonymous and call home. And you have to think about it, whether it was a conscious decision Ramirez made to stay at Hotel Cecil or whether it was just dumb luck. Either way, Hotel Cecil gave Ramirez the anonymity he needed to conduct his macabre business undisturbed. So we have lots of suicides, the possible Black Dahlia connection, one of the most infamous unsolved murders in history, mind you, the brutal slaying of Pigeon Goldie, and a motherfucking serial killer. And it doesn't stop there. Oh no. Now let's jump to 1991, because even after his death, Richard Ramirez contributed to murders committed around Hotel Cecil. Enter Jack Unterweger, a a semi-famous Austrian author, journalist, and playwright. Now, Jack Unterweger came to Los Angeles in 1991, wanting to write true-life crime stories. I mean, he wanted in it. He wanted to see and experience all the grit LA had to offer. And what better place to stay as he was researching? The Hotel Cecil, of course. And old Jack just didn't want any old Cecil room. Oh no, he wanted room 1402, the room Richard Ramirez stayed in just 6 short years prior.
Right.
Now, to get a lay of the land while getting a firsthand experience of all the shit LA had to offer, Jack arranged a number of ride-alongs with LAPD, explaining to desk sergeants that this was the only way a foreign writer could obtain the best, the truest writing material. And LAP agreed. But you see, this was all complete bullshit. What Jack Unterweger really came to LA for was to kill, to become the city's next big serial killer. After Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, of course, who Jack idolized.
Really?
Yes. Jack wanted to be feared like the Night Stalker was. He wanted to feel power the Night Stalker felt. He wanted to walk the streets the Night Stalker walked. And he wanted to live where the Night Stalker lived. Fucking dork-ass fanboy. So Jack Unterweger would go on nightly ride-alongs with LAPD under the guise that he was doing research for a book. Cops took him through the neighborhood around Hotel Cecil, which is Skid Row. So pretty much everything Jack needed for his research could be found right by the hotel. He was the drugs, the violence, the prostitution was all right there. This is exactly what he was looking for. Essentially, Jack was being given a police-escorted tour, being shown exactly where prostitution was happening and who the prostitutes were. Unbeknownst to the cops, they were showing Jack exactly where and how he could hunt for victims. He perfectly manipulated the LAPD. And that's when the bodies started to show up.
Wait, can we just stop for a second and reflect on the balls?
Dude, right?
And the ingenuity. The only thing bad, besides killing, of course, is that he picked the wrong hero.
Follow Captain America.
Right.
Not the Night Stalker.
Pretty sure your next door neighbor's better. But the point is that, besides that, what a magnificently easy way to get...
It's diabolical, isn't it?
It's diabolical.
Yes.
It is so sleuthy and deception-y and... okay.
Yeah, this guy, he was and listeners, I left pictures of Unterweger in the show notes. Check him out. He's just a piece of shit. He's just a slimy piece of shit. Now, in total, Jack Unterweger murdered 3 prostitutes in L.A. while he was staying at Hotel Cecil. That's Shannon Exley, Irene Rodriguez, and Peggy Booth. They were all horribly beaten, sexually assaulted, raped, and strangled to death with their own bras. And as the story goes, one of Jack's ride-alongs, police took him to observe his own crime scene.
You're kidding?
No. Can't make this shit up, man. After completing his 3rd murder in L.A., in other words, having came, saw, and conquered, Jack decided to check out of Hotel Cecil, and he headed down to Florida. Now, in Florida, he was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Miami on February 27, 1992, on a warrant issued by police in Graz, Austria. You see, after he was caught, it came to light in America that Unterweger had murdered before, in 1974 in Austria, for which he was sentenced to life in prison. But in prison, Jack began to write. And apparently, he was one hell of a writer, because his work caught the attention of Austrian literary elite, and they used Jack's writings as the example for how he had been rehabilitated.
Oh, my God.
Dude, this
guy's even more ballsy than I thought.
Yeah. And so upon urging from some of Austria's elites...
Did he write his petitions in the iambic pentameter? Like, what happened?
A, B, A, A, B, B, A. I don't know if that's iambic pentameter.
I don't know shit about shit.
But so these elites, they rallied for his release. And out of life, he only did 15 years. And after he got out of prison, he killed just 4 months later. And actually, before he took his Los Angeles trip, a number of prostitutes were murdered in Vienna and in other close European countries. And just like in LA, the European prostitutes were brutally beaten, strangled, raped, strangled with their own bras and raped, right?
Right.
And the killer became known as the Vienna Woods Killer or the Vienna Strangler. Authorities over in Europe figured out that the Vienna Woods Killer was Jack Unterweger, and he was traced to the United States. The warrant was issued, and he was caught in Miami, just unfortunately a little too late, right? He already killed 3 in Los Angeles. Now, Jack was ultimately charged with 11 murders, 3 of which were committed in L.A. while he was staying at Hotel Cecil. He was convicted of 9 out of 11 murders and once again sentenced to life. But believe it or not, Unterweger never spent another night in prison, as he hanged himself just 6 hours after his sentencing.
Like
Now,
in the holding cell? Like there?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Okay.
Now, it's reported that actor Michael Fassbender was set to play Jack Unterweger in a true crime film called Entering Hades. And according to the British Films Directory, as of April 2019, the movie's in pre-production. I would watch that.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
He can play fucked up like that.
I can see it. Now, we got to finish up our list of suicides. In 1992, an unidentified man was found deceased in the alley behind Hotel Cecil. Authorities that discovered the man said he was approximately 32 years old, was 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighed around 185 pounds, and was dressed in blue sweatpants and a black sweatshirt over a gray t-shirt. It was unclear if the man had jumped or was pushed from the Hotel Cecil's roof. To this day, the man's identity has not been discovered. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about jumpers here. In this guy's case, being 185 pounds and falling from 13 stories, his soft, squishy body is hitting concrete at approximately 92 feet per second, or about 65 miles per hour. Yikes.
Wow.
Splat, right? And on June 13th, 2013, body of a 28-year-old man was found outside Hotel Cecil. It's believed he jumped to his death from atop the hotel, and his name was never released to the public. Okay, this last story is such a doozy. I can't even. It's slightly out of chronological order just because I wanted to go out with a bang, but it's only out of order by 5 months from the last story we talked about. This story begins on January 28th, 2013, when a 21-year-old Canadian college student named Elisa Lam checks into Hotel Cecil. Elisa is a first-generation Canadian citizen. Her parents are from Hong Kong. Elisa is all up in Canada studying hard, and she decides she's going to take a solo trip to Los Angeles to take in some sights and do some blogging along the way. She's a little tight on funds, so Elisa decides to check into the very affordable Hotel Cecil for 3 days. Now it's 2013, and the Cecil is firmly and solidly entrenched in Skid Row. I really don't think Elisa knew what she was getting into when she checked into the Cecil, and a few of her blog posts, Tumblr posts actually, pretty much confirmed my suspicions. She wasn't happy with the room.
No, I bet. It comes with complimentary syringes. I don't know why.
a lot of the things I read, reviews and stuff, people who were checking into Hotel Cecil, not knowing what it was or its notorious past, got all freaked out when they had to sign waivers saying they weren't going to bring drugs into the room or sex workers into the room. This kind of place we're talking about.
Yeah,
make you sign a waiver.
Yeah.
Elisa, this is a 21-year-old foreigner. She doesn't know LA, and she especially doesn't know the Cecil's reputation. Anyway, Elisa was very good about checking in with her parents. She did so daily, and she was good about posting updates about her experiences to Tumblr. But on January 31st, 2013, her third night at Hotel Cecil, Elisa Lam vanishes without a trace. 4 days later, when Elisa's parents hadn't heard from their daughter, they begin to panic, and they call the hotel, and they ask a worker to go check on their daughter's room. When the worker entered Elisa's room, nothing was amiss. No sign of robbery, no sign of foul play, nothing. In fact, Elisa's laptop and personal belongings were all still in the room. The LAPD was notified, and an immediate and intense search was launched. Police checked all of the Cecil's floors, and they claim all rooms were searched too, as in every occupant was questioned. Originally, police believed Elisa was possibly being held against her will in one of the hotel rooms. Nothing was found.
Right.
No eyewitnesses, no suspects. The police even searched the hotel's roof and found nothing. It was as if the Hotel Cecil swallowed up Elisa Lam whole. As part of the investigation, the hotel's video surveillance footage was taken and analyzed. And that's when they found it. If you've never heard of the case of Elisa Lam, you have to take my word that this video the police found went absolutely viral. It created a worldwide media storm, and it captured the imaginations of true crime buffs everywhere. So what did police find on the video? When the footage was analyzed, the police found a section of tape from a security camera inside an elevator closest to the room where Elisa was staying. The date on the tape was January 31st, 2013, the last night Elisa was ever seen alive. To say the video footage is bizarre is an understatement. In the video, you can see Elisa enter the elevator. She bends down and peers at the floor buttons, then quickly steps to one wall of the elevator, the wall closest to the floor buttons, and presses her back against the wall. She then quickly sidesteps into the corner of the elevator, cowering, pressing yourself into the corner formed where the floor button wall meets the left wall if you're walking into the elevator. She has a really strange look on her face, and by her actions, it's like she's pressing herself into the corner in a feeble attempt to hide from someone or something. She then leans half her body out of the elevator and quickly snaps her head left and right, her long black hair flying with the motions, like she's looking for something. And then she quickly steps back into the elevator. Next, she jams almost every floor button, and you can't help but notice that the elevator doors are staying open this entire time. Normally, an elevator door will close after 10 seconds or so? Not in this case. The entire time Elisa is in the elevator, even after pushing all the floor buttons, the doors don't move. At another point in the video, Elisa steps out of the elevator and looks down the hall while making these very strange, creepy hand movements, like she's gesticulating with her arms and hands and appears to be talking to someone in front of her, just out of camera reach. This is after she smashed all the floor buttons, yet that elevator door stays wide open. It's really the creepiest thing to watch. Finally, you see Elisa slowly walk out of frame, and you almost suspect her to pop back into the elevator, back on camera, but she doesn't. A few seconds pass, and the goddamn elevator door shut. And that's it. She's never seen alive again. And I swear to God, it's like a damn Hollywood horror movie. But what happens next is really one of the most horrific things I've ever read. On February 19th, 2013, 19 days after she went missing, a break finally happens with Elisa Lam's case. Hotel Cecil residents began complaining about the water coming out of the tap. It was darker in color, and it had a really funny taste, and it smelled funny too. So, maintenance workers went up to the roof of the Cecil to check the water tanks. There were 4 water tanks on the roof, which gravity-fed water to all the hotel rooms. The worker climbed to the top of a massive water tank, opens this big, heavy 20-pound lid, and there, floating naked in the water tank, was the body of Elisa Lam. Now think about it. For several weeks, people in the Cecil were drinking, bathing, brushing their teeth, taking showers with water in which Elisa's body floated, slowly decomposing. I'm telling you, do you remember the Jennifer Connelly movie, Dark Water?
Yeah, I remember the original anyway.
Yeah, isn't this the same fucking premise of Dark Water?
I think so, yeah. That's what happened in that movie, yeah.
Yes.
The apartment complex.
Yes, only this is an honest-to-God true story and not a movie.
Right.
Now, as soon as Elisa Lam's body was discovered, a number of questions arose. How did Elisa get onto the roof? The hotel's roof access door was supposedly had a functioning alarm on it, but no alarm was triggered, and you needed a pass key to get up to the water tank. Matter of fact, her pass key was found in her room. I forgot to mention that. So she didn't use the pass key to get up to the roof, right? The water tank's access door was shut. How did Elisa manage to shut the access door if she's drowning in frigid water? How does one not see a young woman going up to the roof with security cameras all over? How did Elisa even know how to access the roof? In the water, along with Elisa, authorities found a red hoodie and a watch. In her room, as I mentioned, found her laptop, her room key, and all her personal belongings. The only thing that was missing, police discovered, was her cell phone, and it's never been found. Now, ultimately, autopsy revealed that Elisa had died from accidental drowning. Not murder, not foul play, no narcotics in her system, nothing. And that's how the case sits to this day. The official cause of Elisa Lam's death is accidental drowning, and the LAPD closed the case. But even though the police closed the case, the internet didn't.
No.
And here's where it gets even crazier. Now, as I said, to this day, Elisa's phone has never been found. But on February 27, 2013, on Elisa's Tumblr page, her blog page I mentioned earlier, there appeared another post 28 days after Elisa died. The post was just an image. It was a tarot card with the hermit on it, which symbolizes a time when someone seeks solitude and isolation from others. Some people interpret this as the killer mocking Elisa's lonely, isolated death in the water tank, like the killer had her phone and used it to post to her Tumblr page. And this, to a lot of people, screams that Elisa did not drown accidentally, but rather she was murdered. But by who? How about Richard Ramirez? You heard that right. How about Richard Ramirez? But wait a minute, isn't he locked up while all this is happening to Elisa Lam?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is yes, he is locked up. And he'll die just a few months later in June 2013. You might ask, but how can a gravely ill, locked up serial killer kill Elisa Lam? And here's where you have to go back to the elevator video footage. We already know that Richard Ramirez stayed at Hotel Cecil throughout most, if not all, of his LA killing spree. And we know from our Richard Ramirez episode that the Night Stalker loved him some Satan. He was a self-described Satanist, remember? Ramirez was doing all the raping and the killing and the mutilation to gain favor with Satan. Remember that? Well, if you watch the elevator video and you look really close, you'll notice what looks like this smoky, matrixing looking thing going on, especially when Elisa leaves the elevator for the final time. If you take that smoky stuff and you superimpose a picture of Richard Ramirez on top of it, I will be goddamned if it doesn't look exactly like the Night Stalker. Check the show notes. I've left images of this unbelievably weird thing there for you to see. So what some people say is that Richard Ramirez, through some demonic power bestowed onto him, was able to terrorize, possess, and ultimately kill Elisa Lam. That when Elisa appears to be hiding in the elevator, it's Ramirez she's hiding from. When she's seen outside the elevator appearing to talk to someone while strangely gesticulating her arms and hands, she's communicating with Richard Ramirez. And that it's his evil spiritual power that keeps the elevator doors open, even after Elisa pushed all those elevator buttons, which ultimately causes her to leave the elevator and walk out of frame. And that's when the Night Stalker strikes. And Elisa winds up dead in the water tank. And it's fucking crazy, I know. Just check the show notes and see the superimposed pictures I've put there, and you decide for yourself.
Yeah, I saw the video while you were describing the thing.
Isn't it freaky?
On YouTube. Yeah, what's with those hand gestures?
Oh,
so weird.
I just got the chills again. When she's doing those hand gestures, looking like she's talking to somebody, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's incredibly creepy. And the look on her face when she's in the elevator, she looks scared, dude, you know?
Yeah, I mean, as for as much as you can tell, right? Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know what to say. It's really baffling.
Have you heard of that case before? Or is this the first time?
No, this is the first time.
Okay. Yeah, very, very, very strange. Very strange. Now, I told you that last one was a doozy. So how about some ghosts? With all the suicides, the murder, the serial killers, and the overall negative energy permeating the Hotel Cecil for almost 90 years, there's got to be a ghost or two, right? Some guests who have stayed overnight at the hotel have claimed to encounter apparitions and shadow figures. Some of these have even been photographed. Perhaps most disturbing are those which have been snapped departing the building via the upper floor windows, suicide victims replaying their final plunge over and over again. In fact, I've left a link in the show notes to a news story which highlights a photo captured at the Cecil in 2014 that appears to show a ghost outside of a fourth floor window. It's a pretty creepy image, so please check out the show notes and let us know what you think. But overall, for as haunted as the internet claims the Cecil is, and I truly believe that it is haunted, ghost stories from the Cecil are surprisingly sparse. There are a lot of stories of roaming cold spots, feelings of being watched, and the ubiquitous shadow figures reported in hallways and guest rooms, but there are no stories explaining who these figures might be. It could be the figures are suicide victims, since there were so many. Or maybe it's Pigeon Goldie, brutally murdered in her room, or some other victim not reported in the papers. Or it could be something else entirely, like the energy of the Night Stalker or Jack Unterweger taking form. And there are some that believe that the land itself that Hotel Cecil sits on is cursed, and for whatever reason, it draws negative energy into it. So I'm betting at this point that at least some of our more unshakable patrons are asking themselves, can I stay at the Hotel Cecil? And I applaud you because I want to stay there too. Unfortunately, the answer is no. In 2011, the Cecil attempted to shake off its macabre history by rebranding itself as Stay on Main Hotel and Hostel, a $75 per night budget hotel for tourists, which would include a quasi-boutique hotel and hundreds of fully furnished micro units to keep up with LA's surging co-living craze. In 2014, the hotel was sold to New York City hotelier Richard Bourne for $30 million, while a New York City firm called Simon Barton Development purchased a 99-year land lease on the property. A $100 million renovation plan was set in motion to not only preserve the historically and architecturally significant hotel lobby, but also to rehab all the rooms, as well as add a rooftop pool, gym, and lounge. In February 2017, the Los Angeles City Council voted to deem the Hotel Cecil a historic cultural monument because it's representative of an early 20th century American hotel and because of the historic significance of its original architect's body of work. And here's where the Hotel Cecil, or the Stay on Main, stops breathing. It closes to the public. According to Simon Barton Development website, the hotel will open again as a mixed-use property, offices, shops, apartments. And in April 2020, locals in the area reported seeing signs on the building advertising $900 a month apartments, and they witnessed construction workers entering the building once again. Now, there's no grand opening date as far as I could tell, so who knows? Maybe one day in the near future, we could take the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast on the road and visit the Stay on Main. See if we could conjure up any Hotel Cecil ghosts for our listeners. Because one thing we know, you could rehab a building, add a swanky rooftop pool, and lure in a new generation of clientele. But one thing you can't cover up with paint and drywall is the hotel's history. Its bloody history in this case. That kind of history and energy seeps into the very bones of the building, and no amount of revitalization could get that out. And that is the Hotel Cecil.
Yeah, you can, what does that expression goes? You can take, yeah, I was gonna say you can take the evil out of the hotel, but you can't take the hotel out of the evil. I don't know. I was trying to think of something cute to say there.
that would have been a nice sign off.
I lost it. Just trying to think of it, and I couldn't think of it. I mean, I would be. I mean, it sucks that it's now longer a hotel, so we can't like stay there.
Yeah.
But if once they're open, we can definitely go in. I'm curious as to what people will experience living there.
Oh, I know.
Yearly, not just daily.
I'll visit it. I could never live there. Yeah, I wish I could just find a tenant or someone who used to live there, or maybe if I had months to put this together, I could have tracked somebody down. But yeah, I can't even imagine. But the strange thing was, there's no one really talking about actual honest to God, well, except for that one photo that was taken that you can see in the show notes. Aside from that, there's no honest to God bona fide experiences that I could really find that I wanted to talk about, that I trusted to talk about. Yeah. Right, it's just the general haunted symptoms, right? The shadow figures, the cold spots, feeling like you're being watched. But they're there. With that kind of bloody past, they're there.
Well, if you want to lean into the supernatural element of this more, it could be that most of the supernatural radiation, let's say, that the hotel emanates, the thing that most people, you're looking for this, but the reason you can't find it is because maybe it's doing too good of a job. It's making all these people jump off its rooftops.
Yeah.
Or something, like, right? It's to the point where you just think it's like a desolate place for desolate people, which, I'm not saying it isn't. It is. But maybe, they probably half of those would have not jumped or would have backed off had, a little something supernatural wasn't pushing them to do it.
Right.
Right. I don't know. But yeah, I would totally visit in a heartbeat.
Like, would they have done what they done if they stayed at Chez Paul down the block? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or the Hilton, the Hamster, over on the next street. Would they have still done it?
The Hamster?
Kind of, well, that's what we call Hiltons, the Hamsters. It's travel lingo. But would they have still done it?
Pardon me.
Would they have been compelled to jump had they stayed somewhere else? I don't know. It's interesting.
I don't know either. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't know.
So, and that Elisa Lam story. Oh, man. You could go into hours, days, rabbit holes online with that stuff. There's so many conspiracy theories out there about Elisa Lam, but I prefer the Richard Ramirez angle.
You prefer that one?
I do. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, no, I can see why, especially since we just did a show on him.
Yes.
I definitely. I'm not going to speculate. I don't personally think it's Richard Ramirez, and if those people if you want to, like people who are saying it's not supernatural because Richard Ramirez was still alive during when that happened, I'm like, well, if you go with the SOS model of how spirits work in our experience, is that crazy emotions or crazy occurrences or events leave energies.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy of Ramirez could still very well be there.
Yes.
And he could still be somewhere else, in a prison somewhere. And it doesn't have to die.
Absolutely agree.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yeah, or maybe Unterweger. But
right, that guy, yeah.
If you look at that superimposed photo, it's so eerie, so accurate. Definitely doesn't look like Unterweger, but it does look like Ramirez. So who knows? I'm not saying that's it, but it's my favorite angle. So that's what I took.
Yeah, it's a good angle.
Did you just yawn on Mike?
No, I didn't. It just came out of nowhere.
That's okay. I didn't screw up twice and we had to start all over either.
You didn't do anything. Yeah, you did fine. See?
Magic of editing.
Yeah, you don't. You know what they call you? Take one, Jason. They call you Jason. That's everything takes you in one take. That's what Bob Warner called you.
Producers and directors love me.
Yes. That's really cool. The hotel thing. I mean, it's terrible, all the death, but it's cool. It kind of reminds me of the Chelsea Hotel. You ever heard of that?
I have. I don't know much about it, but I've definitely heard of it.
That one has a very similar past where it's no longer like that anymore. I don't even know if it's called that anymore. I don't even know if the building exists the same way anymore. It's a New York hotel where in the, I think its heyday maybe was in the 50s and 60s, like during the, the hippie days, the acid days, the what's that music, folk music times, right? All that stuff. When Greenwich Village was becoming a thing to be in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and famous people too, like famous rock stars and what have you, would go there and take a lot of drugs and do prostitution and do all this stuff.
Oh, is that where Sid Vicious killed Nancy?
I don't know.
It's Chelsea. Oh man, I'm not sure. I think so.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not gonna. I don't know. I can't tell you one name. All I know is that I saw an article about this a long time ago, and then I saw a movie about the Chelsea Hotel, like a fake movie though, about the Chelsea Hotel, and it brought up all this stuff about its history being a big part of it. But it wasn't like a haunted horror movie either, but it was just like a regular movie. But it brought this up, and it reminded me of the Cecil when you were talking.
Oh, I'll look into Chelsea. Maybe that's something we could do on another show.
Yeah.
I mean, just hotels in general, man, are creepy. I think we've talked about this a few times on the show. They're just creepy places.
There's a certain clown hotel we went to, remember?
Ooh, the Clown Motel in Tonopah, Nevada. Yeah, we did an episode from there. And a YouTube video.
Off the top of your head, huh?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I hope our patrons have gone that far back in our catalog. But yeah, we reported from the Clown Motel in Tonopah. That's right.
Well, let me tell you what's not a good idea is to have a cemetery next to your hotel.
No. Especially if your hotel is fucking clown themed.
Right. Which, if you're afraid of clowns and dead things, I mean, that's your fate.
That's right. I'm trying to remember that woman's name we interviewed. Oh, well, I don't want to get off on a side thing here, but
that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, great place. Definitely.
No, it's a good idea. I love this bonus. As late as it is.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Good. Do you have anything else?
No, man. I think I'm good.
Let's get out of here. Take us home.
Let's do it. 25 years probably since I've seen it.
Yeah, it holds up. I didn't know Coppola directed that movie. I didn't know that.
Turns out he's a pretty good director.
Yeah. He did well for himself.
Yeah.
Little Franny Coppola.
Yeah.
And I learned it was based off a book. I didn't know that either.
Oh, you didn't know that either? Oh.
No. That's how long it's been. I had no idea.
Wow.
So I'm going to get the book for sure. Pops up. Doom, 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 boom, boom. And I'm like, fuck. So I got to run around, do my hair real quick, throw on a polo, and then sit down and answer.
And 2 weeks before prom. I mean, you know me, I don't mind going to your house, but you haven't seen my place yet.
No, I haven't.
You know, so you got to do that at least once. I know you hate leaving your house, but, and your Grand Central Station over there, but you got to leave the station at some point.
It really has become where obviously I want to go to my goddaughter's party tomorrow. I want to see the guys and stuff, but
where is this going?
I don't like leaving home anymore. That's what
I
COVID
know.
did to me.
I know it does. I mean, you were barely wanting to leave before, but you did leave. But you did.
Yeah.
You know, I remember.
I mean, I thoroughly enjoy going on vacations with the family and with you guys. I mean, I'll do that tomorrow, but actually just going out and visiting places local, I don't want to do it. I want to stay at home.
Yeah. No, I know the feeling. But I gotta get you out here at least once.
No, for sure.
I can't have you not see this place at least once. It's been a year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, God.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I mean, obviously I'll clean up and shit. All the cockroaches will be gone, I promise.
God.
It's fine. It's fine.
Well, the guy, it's like the guy, half baked. The guy on the couch, your guy will be gone.
Yeah, my guy will be gone. Right. I was trying to, I kind of remember that. I vaguely remember. You know, my guy on the couch, the slouch on the couch, whatever you want to call it. I always go for Brad Pitt in True Romance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember he's always high and all the gangsters come to him.
That's
Hey,
right.
you want to smoke a bowl? No. And they pull guns at him. Like, all right, then. Like, I really love that character. I always think of him.
Good call. Are you in the mood for Love Dump?
Well, the thing is that, okay, I need to. Well, yesterday I told Lexi I'm gonna watch a really fucked up Swedish horror movie, so you should stay in your room. But if I say that every night, I think I'm having some bitch over for 2 hours. I don't know what. I'm kidding. But maybe I'll try for maybe I'll try Marrowbone, which seems more like atmospheric than it is like hardcore insanity.
What I remember about Marrowbone, wait till the end.
Yeah,
end is. I remember the end being like Gonzo, man. And everything else leading up to it, you're like, because it's like a Western kind of.
Oh, well, you know me, I love Westerns.
If I remember right.
So it's like Bone Tomahawk, where like it's the ending that.
That's the one I'm thinking of, man. Bone Tomahawk. Sorry.
Oh. Oh, because it has bone in the title.
Yes.
Oh, I get it now.
Marrowbone, I haven't seen. Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, so you have no idea what Marrowbone?
Not a clue.
Okay.
Not a clue.
In the show, you're like, oh yeah, it's good, it's and now I know, because I always knew that you don't super love Bone Tomahawk the way I do, because it's very westerny.
Yeah, except for the end.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it builds up to the ending. Okay, yeah, no, I know Bone Tomahawk. I have that on Blu-ray. No, but Marrowbone, you have nothing. God.
Marrowbone. Okay.
I'm like Western. I could have sworn the poster had like it was like the 1940s or something.
It was like literally robots.
I watch it at some far-flung future, and there's nothing to do with West. Yeah, there's no horses or anything.
There it is, Marrowbone.
Don't read the description out loud. I don't know what's about it.
Oh, Charlie Heaton. Okay.
Do you want Marrowbone?
Yeah, sure.
Or would you like Bone Tomahawk? No, I don't have
Do we have a Marrow Tomahawk?
Marrow Tomahawk, yeah. Or Marrowbone. No, that's Marrowbone.
That's literally the movie.
All right, we're getting slapsticky. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
But yeah, anything you think I would enjoy, feel free to send it over. We're looking for stuff to watch. So.
Oh, there is something fun. Oh, I should have mentioned this in this show. Well, I can put it on the outtakes maybe. I saw a movie on Shudder called Vicious Fun. Have you heard of it?
We watched it.
Oh, did you like it? I thought it was fun.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Right? It was like a fun time movie.
Yes.
That was fun. I saw that 2 days ago.
I think we saw it 2 days ago as well.
Shut up.
Honest to God. Swear to God.
Oh my God. That's so
It
funny.
wasn't tonight. Last night it was. What did we watch last night? Fuck.
The last time for me was The Farm, a little bit of The Strangers, and that other horror movie I forgot already.
So I think it was. I think it was 2 days ago. It wasn't last night.
Wow, that's so crazy. We both might have seen it at the same rough time.
Yeah, and
Known about
that's.
it.
I mean, the whole time I had like a smile on my face. That lead character, the kid, was so great.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was really funny. Not all the time, but like he was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Like,
just
yeah.
like his little facial expressions or little one-liners he would say or things he would mutter under. Just great.
I knew that he was gonna bring up the taxi idea to that group. I'm like, going, he's gonna bring up the taxi.
Yeah, that was so fun, and that's exactly what I said when the movie was over. I'm like, that was a fun movie.
Yeah.
In Vicious Fun, when the main serial killer, the white guy, the
fucking what's his name from that show? He did that the really smart one that was charming.
Yes.
What's his name? No, the real one.
Like the actor's name?
No, the real serial killer, from the 70s.
Ted Bundy?
Was it Bundy? The one on that show with the lovemaking show, whatever?
Oh, Rodney Alcala.
Is that him?
It was one that went on the dating game.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's like those two characters, like very charming and very smart, and the way they play up, and dating and stuff like that. It was felt very similar to that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. What about him?
When he's like quarter, and he puts the quarter into the jukebox and he's doing that dance.
Yeah.
It was so creepy. It was just so slimy. Ugh.
Yeah, he was slimy. I love all the different types. It was like the fucking guy who doesn't like the robot reptile, and you got the big strong motherfucker that clearly doesn't care what evidence or witnesses he leaves behind. You know, he's like lazy, go lucky.
Yeah.
And the Japanese guy who starves his heart because he waits patiently for his prey, like a tarantula. It was great. Yeah. And the CIA agent was actually a good idea because we thought of that before. When you think of like people who do wet works, people like soldiers who kill a lot of people, like are they serial killers? What's the psychology there? This movie kind of plays with that a little bit by putting him.
Good point.
Putting him as the leader of this group is it's a fun idea. Now what we gotta see next is like a serious version of this,
and that's another one that could pull off eye bags.
Yes, that's true.
I
forgot that actor's name though.
Yeah, we just said it. We literally just had it pulled up. I forgot.
It's not worth it. It's fine.
With my eye bags, I look like a fucking Walking Dead zombie. These guys, they're getting Hollywood roles.
With regular people, we're not. They're not like Bathura famous or like untouchable, but they're just in a different league than we are.
Yes, so.
It's not fair or it's not right, but there you go.
It's not fair. It's not right.
But what the fuck want to say? We're ugly ass motherfuckers. In comparison. Because I need to know what this girl's motivations are and shit. I don't know enough, and I fear because it's episodic. I can't wait this long. In the movie, thankfully, they'll tell you by the end because the movie's over at the end.
Right.
This is why I prefer movies. I don't know why people prefer shows all the time. Shows are not great for everything, and they're not great for this.
Agreed.
They're not good at this.
It's a good story. You get into the characters totally. Yeah, I think it's fine storytelling by Shyamalan Ding Dong, but.
Well, it's not really him. He like started it, but it's some other guy who's doing it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But just please give me something.
Something. Also, one thing I don't like about that show is that it's a little too dark, isn't it? Jesus, it's my fucking TV all the time. I can't see shit sometimes. Look who the fuck's talking. It's kind of too dark. It's always very fucking dim.
Who the fuck is talking?
In that house?
And
whose baby is that?
We don't know. We still don't know.
Is it the doll? Is it real? What's going on?
All I know is that Rupert Grint looks terrible.
No, he looks great. He looks like he's older. He looks like
a cute little kid. He's like
he looks 20 years older. Yeah, no, he looks normal to me. He looks like more of a regular person. Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe are just more Hollywoodized, I think.
I guess, yeah. Maybe
Emma Watson's got the Disney treatment, dude. She's gonna look like that for a long time. They're gonna give her the special adrenochrome to keep her going. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna be fine, sure. She's gonna look the same age for a long time. Charlie's gonna be 50. Emma Watson's still gonna look the same.
Right. Emma Watson, and who played Cruella? Who's that? Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Her too. I don't think she'll ever change.
Yeah, she looks the same as Easy A. It's
Yeah,
fucking-
like
it's fucking ridiculous.
oh, wait a minute. So Easy Rider was X rated?
Midnight Cowboy.
Midnight
Did
Cowboy.
I say Easy Rider?
No. You said Midnight Cowboy.
Okay, good.
I don't know why.
Why would I say Easy Rider?
Midnight Cowboy with Matt Dillon? Wasn't that Matt?
No, you're thinking of Drugstore Cowboy.
Oh fuck.
I'm here for you. I can literally understand your brain as you say this incorrectly. Like, if you were saying this to a family member, a different friend, a psychologist, you're fucking sent to the fucking ward. You say with me, like, oh, you meant this movie.
So then what is Midnight Cowboy?
You just go to Katie. He met Midnight Cowboy. She's like, what the fuck is wrong?
Katie, wake up. It's
Yeah.
Bone
Midnight
Tomahawk.
Cowboys with John Voight and I'm walking here. What's his name? Fuck. Who's won like 3,000 awards? Dustin Hoffman.
And it
Dustin
was
Hoffman and
X-rated.
John Voight.
And it was X-rated
It was X-rated at the time, yeah.
for nudity, for violence.
For like showing his actual junk in one scene and showing something relating to a woman's anatomy too. That's it.
Really?
It was dumb. Yeah.
Wow,
Totally dumb.
that's amazing.
But also there are other opposite consistencies. For example, like Space Odyssey, 2001, A Space Odyssey, the great Stanley Kubrick space thing,
Yeah.
is a rated G movie. Probably wouldn't be rated G today, but it's rated G for general audiences.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And there's monkeys killing each other in the beginning there. There's a whole fucking the end of the world. I don't know what's going on in that movie.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in that movie either.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So
Interesting.
yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff like that. So who different times.
Yeah,
Different times, that's it.
definitely. No, it's okay. I just haven't seen that rating in so long.
Could Hostel and Hostel 2 be NC-17?
I don't think so. I think they were R.
Huh, okay.
Believe it or not.
I know that I think Natural Born Killers was.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think it got an NC-17 rating. If that existed back then, maybe it didn't exist, and it would, because I know that he had to cut, what was it, like 50 frames or something? Or no, it was more than that, like 50 seconds worth of shots
Oh,
or
wow.
frames in that movie in order to make it just rated R.
No shit.
Yeah, I have the old VHS copy of Natural Born Killers that I have actually has the unrated version of those little extra seconds, like the extra violence that goes further deep before the scene cuts.
Huh.
Yeah, it has those. And my DVDs don't. The iTunes version doesn't that I saw. So I don't know if it exists out there or not somewhere else, but I have the VHS version.
Cool.
I
Wait,
might be wrong though.
here's a list of NC-17 movies in case you were interested.
Please hit me.
Kids,
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
a Serbian film.
Okay, cool.
Casino.
What the fuck?
It's on IMDb.
Oh, because of the bat scene. I have no idea why. The pancake scene?
So it doesn't say why. It just lists them. Blue is the warmest color.
Really? Really?
Yep.
Blue is the warmest color?
Yep.
It's a love story. There's no horror in it at all. It's two
It's-
chicks fucking.
US NC-17 sorted by popularity ascending.
Oh, okay.
So,
So,
yeah.
maybe I guess the graphic nudity, right? I don't think they showed the vagina today. I don't remember.
It says The Evil Dead.
Really?
Shame. I never heard of it. Showgirls.
Shame, Showgirls. Okay, yeah. I know Showgirls was famous for NC-17.
Crash.
Crash?
Wow, from 2000 or
The-
1996.
The Holly Hunter movie. The
Yeah,
David Cronenberg movie.
after getting into a serious car accident, TV
They have
director,
sex. Right? Crash?
omnisexual car crash victims. Yes,
yeah.
I
It's
do
a Cronenberg
remember.
movie.
Yes, it is. That's
Mhm.
Holly Hunter. You're right.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
I did see this movie.
They copy like famous celebrity deaths that died in car crashes. They try
Yes.
to imitate it, and then they have sex in the car.
That's exactly what I remember.
Is U-Turn on there?
Well, Queen of Hearts, Last Tango in Paris,
Nice. Okay, I see. I can probably see that one.
In the Realm of the Senses,
Don't know
Killer
that.
Joe.
Killer Joe's great.
Yeah,
Where
that
he-
was good with the chicken leg.
Fellatio with the chicken. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
dude.
Everyone knows that scene.
Something called Lust Caution. Bad
Yeah, I saw
Lieutenant.
that question.
Oh, you
Pet
just
Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans? Or is it the old Harvey Keitel movie? It's probably both.
Harvey Keitel. Yeah.
Harvey Keitel, it has to be that one because he jerks off in front of that. Yeah, it's a lot of scenes in actually. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of scenes. Yeah,
Pink Flamingo. That makes sense.
that makes fucking sense.
Young Adam.
I don't know that one.
The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover.
Sounds a terrible title. A terrible title.
Matador.
Oh.
Man Bites Dog.
Man Bites Dog. Great. Jim Jarmusch, I think. Yes.
These are all like French, I think.
Yes. Well, Blue is the Warmest Colors, French, and a few others that you mentioned, I think. Lust Caution is... No, it's not French. Is that Ang Lee? Ang Lee did that movie.
Which one?
Lust Caution.
Lust
I
Caution.
think so.
Let's see.
You said it earlier. You don't have to go back up. It's fine.
Okay. Orgasmo. Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Bad Education. Arabian
Yes.
Nights.
Bad Education for sure. I mean, not for sure, but based on the other titles.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of this is also kind of like hetero scary, like homophobic scary, or homophobic in general. They feel that way. Some of these titles, I know they're about like, homosexuality and stuff. So I don't know. Anyway.
The Story of O.
Don't know that one.
A Dirty Shame.
Hmm.
Henry and June.
Henry and June, yes, I know that one.
Uma Thurman.
Yes.
Santa Sangre.
Santa Sangre. Yes.
You seen this?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's by that guy who has a really awesome name. What's his name? I love saying
Alejandro
Jodorowsky. Alejandro Jodorowsky.
That is fun.
Jodorowsky? Yeah.
Yeah. Alejandro Jodorowsky. In the Cold of the Night.
Don't know that one.
Ells, Elles. The Canterbury Tales. Okay.
Oh, is that by that Polish director, I think? I don't know.
Pier Paolo Pasolini.
Nope. I have no idea. That sounds Italian to me. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Law of Desire. A gay filmmaker becomes, gay.
Mm-hmm.
Frontiers.
I think I've heard of that one, but never seen it.
Xavier Gens is the director. Female Trouble.
Jesus.
Bent. A Gay Jew. Wow, you're right.
What?
You were saying heterosexual and gay and stuff.
Yeah.
Gay Jew is sent to a concentration camp. Okay. Delta of Venus.
I mean, some of these titles are very obviously.
Yeah.
Very obvious.
Trying to see. Here's something called Whore, 1991.
Oh, great. Straight to the point. Fuck the. Just cut the noise.
Directed by Ken Russell.
Sure. That Ken dude.
Let's see. La Grande Buffet.
Oh, God.
This sounds interesting. A group of men go to a villa in French countryside where they resolve to eat themselves to death.
Wow. It's
Tokyo.
like a what do you call it? An intentional Donner Party.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. Wide Sargasso Sea.
Wow. Never, don't even know what that is.
Tokyo Decadence.
Of course.
God. SwearNet, the movie, 2014.
Don't know that one at all.
Trailer Park Boy. Warren P. Sonoda is the director.
Not familiar.
Something with the Trailer Park Boys. I've heard of the Trailer Park Boys, unfortunately.
Is it with the cast of them, like the characters? That's so crazy.
Yeah, I get fed up with being censored in their post-Trailer Park Boys lives. The out-of-work stars, swearists, Mike Smith, Rob Wells, and John Paul, decide to start their own uncensored network on the internet. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
2 girls and a guy. Makes sense.
Okay, well, that works.
This film is not yet rated.
Really? Is it because of the... Really? Wow.
American... Oh, it's about the American
documentary.
movie. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a documentary. It's a very kind of famous pop culture documentary about like why things get rated badly and shit, and the politics of white people rating movies that they don't understand. It's really... You're describing movies that very much give that movie more weight. Right, as you speak to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
El Infierno.
I don't know
Luis
that
Estrada, director. Hard to Die.
one. I call that a Wednesday.
Descent.
The Descent?
A co-ed college girl is brutally
Oh.
raped and struggles alone to rebuild her life.
Why can't you just normally rape them? Why has it to be brutally?
Yeah, right.
The fuck?
Oh, Inside Deep Throat. It's the
Yes.
I would check that out.
I haven't seen it, but I heard about it.
That's the first movie porno I ever seen was Deep Throat. So
Oh,
I would
really?
see that.
You're so old. You are so old.
I saw it at Severo's house. I guess it was his dad's.
Of course you did.
Lucky Bastard. Flash
It tells me
Gordon.
he's lucky.
Right. Well, a fan is.
I'm heckling the titles. I don't know why.
Well, no, this is a fan is invited to take part in a porn video with his favorite porn star.
Of course.
And he's rejected by her and goes on a killing spree on location.
What? Oh, wow. That got dark fast. I did not know that. I thought it was a fun romp movie, like a raunchy movie. It went dark. I should have said, yay, thumbs up before you finish the synopsis. Damn. I still want to say more.
I know, I kind of do too.
Yeah.
Flash Gordon meets the Cosmic Cheerleaders.
Oh, God, what were they doing? Flash Gordon movie got an NC-17?
I guess so. Yeah.
Jesus.
Something called Inserts from 1975. Trois, Trois. I don't know. 100 Tears, horror, 2007.
Ooh. I should check this list out.
Paris, France. The Night Buffalo. Dark Obsession, 89. Tropic of Cancer, 1970.
Oh, Tropic of Cancer. They wait. Someone fucking adapted a Henry Miller novel?
I guess.
That's very sexual.
This film depicts the adventures of expatriate American writer Henry Miller and his friends as they pursue art, money, food, and sex in Paris.
Sex. It's just sex, really, with art, food, and money in between. That's really all it is.
Well, it stars Rip Torn.
Oh, yeah. He was such a sex icon. Because everyone wants to get Rip Torn.
Broken English.
Oh, yeah. I've seen. Wait, Broken English with Adam Sandler?
No. These are all
That's Spanglish. Never mind. That's Spanglish. See what I did there? I'm sorry. I really got that wrong in my head.
Glam, 1997. The Hottest Bid, 1995. Secretaries. A movie called Bazaar from 87.
I wonder if the Secretaries on there.
Not yet. The Secret Sex Lives of Romeo and Juliet from 1969.
That's a softcore porn from Cinemax right there, if I ever heard of one.
Yeah. Intent to Kill. The Story of Lady Chanterley.
Oh, Jesus.
Wad, The Life and Times of John Holmes. Makes sense. Wad, are you fucking
What I just
me?
called it Bulge.
Miriam from 1982. Young Lean, and that's Y-U-N-G, In My Head. Young Lean, In My Head.
Okay. Sure.
This one's for the ladies. Comfortably Numb. Easier with Practice. Dutch Wife in the Desert from 67.
Jesus.
Softly from Dutch Wife. A private detective is hired to find a woman who has apparently been murdered in a snuff film.
Oh, hey,
from
those
67. Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, nothing's original, man.
Jeez. Softly in Paris. Dice Rules. Andrew Dice Clay.
Really?
Yeah. Documentary.
Something tells me he sponsored that title.
Hobo Hycesis.
Wow. Okay.
It's weird.
Sounds a little too serious for me.
Hell's Bells. Pimp 24/7.
Oh, 70s, huh?
Nothing Goes Right. It's a TV special. Okay. Rodney Dangerfield. Okay. Andrew Dice Clay. Wow. The Shadowed Mind. WVGA in New York City video.
Okay. Can I ask you something? Are any of these made up? Because they sound really made
No,
up.
honest to God, I didn't make up a single one. And that's it. That's the end. IMDb had 84 movies with the NC-17 title.
Interesting. Some of those I would totally check out though.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So I think I know what it is now. It isn't so much the violence; it's just sex.
It's got to be, right?
It's only the thing. That's the only thing that connects them all. Only thing. Even the horror ones you were describing had like brutally raping in it or something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is the main problem. Obviously, I've mentioned this before to you about like with the way we see things and like how violence, no matter how hardcore it is, as long as it doesn't have any sex in it, we're fine with.
That's right.
How is that better than sex? Blue is the Warmest Color is about a relationship between two lesbians.
And it's NC-17. Jesus.
Yes. That's all it is. It was heartbreaking and it's really well acted. And yes, they do some explicit stuff, but just like they would if it was a hetero, you know, I mean, it's the fucking difference. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, it's all it is sex, not violence. I mean, both probably here and there, but mainly sex.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to put this entire section as part of the outtakes for like some other show because it's already too long. But I don't want to never not use it.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm gonna save it because I don't know where I'm gonna put it. Maybe the next one.
Cool. Yeah, it would have to be on a shorter one because remember.
Because when we recorded more outtakes than we did the main show. But the Italians though, they're not shy about that stuff. Melina, I'm surprised Melina's not on there.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Or maybe it's not as graphic as I remember, but it does have what's her name, Monica
Bellucci. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I mean, that's a cautionary tale. I mean, that's a fucked up movie.
Well, see, I don't remember much about it.
Yeah, it's about this girl named Melina, right? In the 60s, 40s, I don't remember anymore. During World War II or after that. It's through this boy's perspective, like growing up knowing her, but like Melina is at one point, you know, hated by everyone in the town because she's so beautiful, so that drop gorgeous, that everyone's jealous and hates her and starts like making up these rumors about her. And because of that, she no longer can hold an upstanding job or anything. It has to resort to the whoringness that the rumors started. Like the rumors made her into the lies to be truthful. And it becomes like this this fucked up tale of like this small town mind is, you know, tearing this woman down. It's fucked. Yeah, it's really insane. It goes places. So.
That's right. I've seen it back when I had a crush on Monica Bellucci.
Who didn't have a crush on fucking Monica? Who doesn't?
Yeah, I don't know what she's like. No, she's still gorgeous.
Oh yeah, she is. I saw her in a movie like 2 years ago. I want to say, still gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah, older. She's like 60 or 50 something, but like yeah. Still.
She was the Merovingian's wife or whatever in Matrix, right?
Yeah. Yes, with boobs bigger than the one.
Yeah. She was the two.
The double one, yes, that's her. That's good. Right. Like that. That's so childish. We're so childish. You know, she was also in that horror movie that's really fucked up. I'm surprised that wasn't in your list. Maybe it was and I missed it. Irresistible.
Irresistible.
No, that's not right. Irreversible.
Irreversible. I never heard of it.
It's a French movie. It stars that guy from Black Swan, the director. Forgot his name. Fuck, whatever. He's French. They're all French. And it's a movie that's like Memento, where it plays backwards.
Oh.
Where like actually starts with the credits too. It's really backwards. Starts with the credits playing backwards. And the timeline is backwards. So like you see the guy repenting his crimes, repenting what he did, right? And then the aftermath of the scene we're about to see, and then the crime itself, and then the revenge first, and it goes back to the actual genesis of the crime that started this guy and his revenge plot that night to kill this man violently in this nightclub. And it starts where actually it ends towards the end with this guy raping Monica Bellucci in this subway platform.
Wow.
And it's I'm not saying they show everything, but it's pretty graphic, and it's like a long take also.
Damn.
Pretty horrifying. So I'm surprised I wasn't on there. Yeah.
That sounds like a good one.
That's a good horror movie. It's by Gaspar Noé, who's very sexually charged director in general. He did Enter the Void. Have you seen that Enter the Void? That's a good
No.
movie. Check
No.
that movie. I have that too.
Enter the Void. I think I've seen a movie called The Void.
Yeah, that's also a pretty fun movie. This is the one in the hospital, right?
Yeah,
And
with the
shit, and all-
cults.
the
They got
cults and shit.
They have
That
the
was a fun
hats or
movie.
something. Yeah, I
I
remember
like that
liking
movie.
it.
A lot of triangles.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I like that movie. Yeah, I saw that on a whim, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of a fun movie. Kind of creepy, atmospheric. Kind
Yeah.
of fun. Also
this
has this
is-
like Cthulhu-esque supernatural nature to it. Kind
Yeah.
of like that. Yeah.
And this is Into the Void.
Enter
Enter the Void. Okay.
Yeah. Enter the Void. I was really obsessed with it because it came out in 2010, I want to say, and I was in film school, so I did a lot of my editing projects. I edited to the opening of that movie.
Oh wow.
And if you've seen it, it's a lot of strobe lights. So it's a lot of insanity.
Oh jeez.
Because it takes place in Tokyo and it uses all this Tokyo light vibe to like charge up the energy of the violence and the sexuality.
Huh.
But at some point, the camera goes right into the vagina and out. It goes everywhere, dude. That fucking
What?
movie goes places. Dude,
Holy
Gaspar Noé don't give a fuck.
Wow.
He'll go everywhere. He'll fucking show, the red light district in all its glory.
I just imagine again the actress reading that script. Wait
Yeah.
there, hold on there, Gasper. You want me to do what?
I'm pretty sure she said when she said yes, she knew what she was saying yes to. But yeah.
Wow.
But he also uses a lot of newcoming actors, so maybe that's why. They're like, oh yeah, I'm desperate enough.
Right? Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that one with Chloe Savini, right? White Rabbit, is that what it's called?
Chloe Savini, White
Where
Rabbit.
she-
No.
Where she blows the guy on cat and film.
Oh no, it's called the Brown Bunny. That's so funny. The white rat. I was thinking of Alice in Wonderland. I'm like, what are you talking about?
The purple ferret? No. The brown bunny. Oh, I see.
If you said the black rabbit, that the joke would have made more sense because it's literally the opposite kind of. Oh, you need to sleep, bro. It's funny.
Yeah, I think so.
Holy shit,
Well,
my cheeks hurt.
Anyway, I'm surprised that wasn't on that list.
Surprised too. Maybe it's not an official movie. Some of these movies, if they never been released properly and stuff like that, and they don't get ratings either. A lot of movies don't get
Oh.
ratings. You think Love Dump has an official MPAA rating? No one submitted that movie for consideration or rating, and they wouldn't even see it.
Oh my god.
And no one.
So they
A
just
lot of these movies don't have them. Yeah, some of these don't.
Oh, I didn't know that. So then Love Dump just rated itself.
Rated itself. The second movie, it's only 23. It says 23 plus minutes. What does that mean? Is it
What?
24?
Is it 60? Is it 24? I don't 23 plus minutes. Dude, that's crazy. It's 20 minutes long.
Well, no, the sadistic pleasures is. I don't know. Love Dump, it doesn't say. I was just reading the other one that says that. Yeah, this one doesn't say on the disc, and it doesn't say in the back. And that's what I can see, unless it's like hidden somewhere in here, and I can't tell.
That's crazy.
For an adult audience only. Yeah, no shit.
You'd think.
It does say limited edition and all that. But no, I don't know. It doesn't say how long. I'm gonna have to find that on my own.
Yeah. Oof. But
I wonder what the menu looks like. Oh god, I can't wait to see this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it's interactive. Like click on the tit for the play. I don't know what the fuck. I have no idea. It could be anything. It could be anything, Jay.
Dude, I'm so curious.
Yeah, no, I'll watch it. Don't worry. I'll watch it definitely before we record the next time, or I'll text you the second I watch it too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Please, like as you're watching it, be like, ew, or like, yay.
Even if it's 3, 4 a.m., I'm just gonna text you. You fine with that?
Yeah, I'll wake up and see it.
Okay, cool.